How's it going, guys? Anboni here, and I know some of you have been asking what's up with the name Chewthefat, where does it come from, what are the origins, and I thought I'd make this video to show you like the history of Chewthefat, and also, watch this, I found something. While I was cleaning, I found this, which is a hard disk, but this is an extremely old hard disk. I've had this for God, like 10 years, honestly, like a really long time. I don't use it anymore, that's why I just found it in there. But you know what I found on it? I found all of my old screenshots. And I mean the old screenshots, like from when I first started playing the game. And I actually started playing the game, because I can check, you can check this thing on your battle.net. Look, I'll even show you. You can check this thing here. See, so you go in Battle.net, and you have your account history, and it shows every transaction, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, transaction, I guess. And you can see down here the very first thing ever was my free 10-day trial. I think nowadays you get a 14-day trial, but this was in, look at this, this was 10 years ago. So I started playing the game on the 5th of July 2007, and as soon as my 10 days were over, you can see, bam, 10 days later, free month, because I bought the game. And then I kept buying game cards, and I don't know what this is, 1 day's exempt. I know you would, oh yeah, I think I know what this is. Back in the day, you would get like a couple of extra days based on how, like if the server was down for a long time, they would just give you an extra day. They don't do that anymore. And then I got a bunch of other things here. So let me tell you the story of Chewthefat then. So when I first started playing the game, I decided to make a priest, and the reason for that was actually my brother. He used to play a rogue, he was playing already, and he told me about shadow priests, how, you know, when they go in shadow form, their mount also gets in shadow form, and he was telling me that he once saw this awesome shadow priest on a flying mount, and the mount was like in shadow form. And you know, not everyone had a mount, not to mention a flying mount, because this was like the beginning of the Burning Crusade. And I was like, okay, I sounds cool, I'll do that. But before Chewthefat, there was this guy. This guy is my first priest I ever made in World of Warcraft. This is the first screenshot I ever took in World of Warcraft. And guess what? It is actually the same priest that you see in my videos today. We'll go through the story, but this is the same priest. Except he was not Chewthefat in the beginning, he was called Testalos. And the name Testalos came from Yu-Gi-Oh! I used to be a huge Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Nerd back in the day. I would play even the trading card game. And there was this card called Testalos the Fire Monarch. Let me show you. This guy. But I even misspelled the name. And back then, I remember I was just having fun with leveling. Like, I was not trying to, you know, rush to max level. I was just, man, I would sit at level 20 for weeks. Plus, it was much harder to level up. Actually, the only thing I really wanted, and I was trying to get as fast as possible, as fast as, not in air quotes, was shadow form. I was trying to get to shadow form, and I think you had to be level 40 or 48 or something like that to get shadow form. So these were the old talents, and shadow form was the last talent in the shadow tier. And it says here that, I think that's what it says, that you needed level 40 to get this. The idea is I was just trying to get shadow form, okay? Because I wanted to look cool in shadow form. That's all I wanted. You will see a lot of screenshots with quests, because you had to like take a screenshot, or at least that's what I did. I would take screenshots of quests, and then I would go, you know, on Thoughtbot, and I would paste the quest on, like, in Paint to remember the name. Other times I would write them on a piece of paper, because you didn't have like quest helpers and stuff like that. So you had to actually read on websites on how to complete quests and where to go and everything like that. So that's why a lot of them are with my quest log open. And look at my action bar. Oh man. The one thing that didn't change though is my 1, 2, 3, and 4 buttons. I still have Fear, Mind Blast, Shield, and Mind Flay on the same buttons as I did 10 years ago. But a lot of these abilities, I don't even remember what they were. I know this thing was my Shadow Shield because I was a troll. You know, priests had like a different ability depending on what race you chose. So if you were a troll, you had this shadow orb around you, which was actually really cool because you had, I remember you had a talent that said whenever you deal shadow damage, you had like a 10% chance to stun the target for 3 seconds. And this orb was like whenever someone would hit me, they would take shadow damage. So whenever someone would hit me, they would have a 10% chance of getting stunned. It was awesome. I remember undeads had, I think, Devouring Plague, though it was like a different ability than what it was you know, afterwards. And I can't remember what else. I know Night Elves had some sort of Starfall, but it was just single target. But I'm not exact. I can't remember. Maybe you guys do. But look, like I had all these potions. I even had, I remember having macros for emotes for like /laugh and /talk and what else, /trade. See, the RP was real back then. So I played my troll Shadow Priest for a long time. I was in no rush of leveling. At some point, I remember this. I think I was level 40 or I was under 50 for sure. And I said, you know what, I'll go to Stormwind. I don't know why, but I just went to Stormwind. And I just died a couple of times. I was level 48. And like, of course now with flying, it's like, it's no big deal. But back then you actually had to run, you know, on your mount, on your slow mount, because I didn't have a 100% speed mount. Of course, I would have a 60% speed mount. Oh, and I remember I was having so much fun with Mind Vision. Mind Vision was the shit. Like, Mind Vision used to have, the tooltip used to say unlimited range. And it was actual unlimited range. You could be, and I did this, I was in Undercity and I would Mind Vision my brother who was in Booty Bay. And it actually, like, it would pop a loading screen, but I would Mind Vision him, it would work. And then, I think in the Burning Crusade, or maybe in Wrath, it would still say unlimited range, but it would actually not work if someone was too far away. And a lot of times I would Mind Vision someone who was very far away, and it would take a while for the textures to load, so I would just see like blank, like white terrain. And then I remember I finally got my shadow form, and I did not care about leveling after that. I would just level to get that shadow form because it looked so cool, and my goal from the beginning was to be in shadow form on a mount. And once I got that, man, I did not care about leveling. Oh, and this, look at this. This is my very first 1v2. Very first, look at that. Level 49, I don't even know how... I can't remember how you would queue for... You would queue for skirmishes, right? You had skirmishes. This was in Burning Crusade, obviously. But I was level 49, and I won my first 2v1. Feels good, man. Oh, and I remember this. Remember the Battle Masters? Oh man, the Battle Masters. And everyone would come here to queue for BGs or Arena. It was so crowded, like it gave you the feeling of, you know, community, because you saw everyone queuing up on your battle group, and you would recognize a lot of people. A priest, same mount, same robe, troll. We looked very similar. It was funny. Oh, and back in the day, before you could fly, there was this thing where you could like wall jump on mountains and like difficult weird terrain. So I wall jumped all the way up to Orgrimmar, but without going through the gates. So that would put you in this weird spot, and that's where Orgrimmar was supposed to be, in that crater. But if you didn't go through the entrance, it would just be like a crater. And this is on top of Orgrimmar. And this was before flying, like you couldn't get here. And then I did the same with Stormwind, I came back. Man, I should go visit Stormwind again on my priest. Looking at these pictures, I remember a lot of people from them. And I'm wondering, are any of these guys still playing the game? Probably not. At level 60, it looks like I came back to Stormwind for the third time. I don't know what was I doing in Stormwind all this time. Look, I come back in Stormwind, okay. So fast forward to the Wrath of the Lich King, where I kind of benched my priest and decided to main a DK, and I played my DK in Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm mostly. I was maining a DK, I even had like a pretty serious PvP guild, though I was still playing a Disc Priest on the side, but it was kind of an alt. But towards the end of Cataclysm, I remember I wanted to play my priest again, and I wanted to actually have him on the same server, in the same guild as my DK. But I can't exactly remember what server that was, but I know my priest was on Karazhan, so I had to transfer him and make him alliance. So the first step was to transfer him, across the server. And when you transfer a character across the server, you can get a free name change with that. So I took advantage of that and I became Uncle Scrub. Yeah, and this is Uncle Scrub. But I didn't stay Uncle Scrub for too long because I was planning on going Alliance. And again, when you go Alliance, you can have another free name change. And I was determined, I knew I wanted to make a Worgen. So I asked one of my friends, I remember, what name should I use for my Worgen? And he told me that Worgen, at least in the starting zone, they're kind of like gentlemen, like old Englishmen, because they wear top hats, I guess. So he said I should use some sort of old English saying. So that's exactly what I did, and I'll show you exactly what I did. So if you go on Google and type old English sayings, it's this website, right? Boop. Yeah, this is the one. So you have a bunch of English sayings here apparently. And if you scroll down a bit, one of them is there you have it, Chewthefat. And apparently it means a host would offer his guest a piece of bacon, which was stored above the fireplace in the parlor so they could chew the fat during their visit. So there you have it. Mystery of the name unraveled. And I became Chewthefat, the Worgen Shadow Priest. Well, I was actually a Disc Priest for a while again, until I decided to completely ditch Disc and stay Shadow. And then MOP came, and you guys know, because that's when I started doing YouTube. In the beginning of MOP, I went Horde. I was Horde. No, I went Horde because I was Alliance. I went back on Horde. I was an undead female. Eventually, I went from undead female to undead male, and I even made a video about that a long time ago, like 2 years ago. So that's the story of Chewthefat. So Chewthefat is, at heart, I was a troll in the beginning, and I was thinking maybe I should go back to being a troll, but I don't know. Undead looks pretty cool. And 10 years later, what do we have to show? This is what we have achieved 10 years later. Terrible. Hey, at least we got Gladiator though. The achievement, the dream. What? What is this? What is this? I know this was something a little different than what I normally do, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I should definitely invade Stormwind again. I think it's time. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya!